Okay.
Is that what you're doing? Is this Burning Man? What's going on? This is weird.
These nuts. Got it. Got it.
You guys, I'm sorry, but is it just me? Or does it feel like Coachella 2026 is actually cursed? Like, what is happening? Between main stage sets getting nuked at the last second, literal equipment falling from the sky and injuring people, and then the Justin Bieber situation, I feel like I'm losing my mind. Because on the surface, it looks like just a messy festival weekend. Some drama here, some controversy there, a canceled set, a viral moment. Normal chaos, right? But the more I look at all of it together, the Justin Bieber situation, what happened to Sabrina, the cat's eye drama, the stage collapse, Anuma's whole thing, Labyrinth, the more I'm like, wait, this isn't just chaos. This is something bigger, and I need to talk about it. Let's start with Justin. Because I was there. I got back at almost 3 a.m. He didn't even go on until 11:25. And I want to be clear, I walked in with basically zero expectations. After the Grammys, I genuinely thought he was going to stand on stage alone in his undies and do acoustic versions of his gospel-era songs all night. That's it. That's what I prepared myself for. So when he came out and actually played throwbacks, baby, favorite girl, that should be me. Never say never. Where are you now? I was shocked. Like, actually shocked. He was on stage, literally pulling up YouTube, Googling himself, singing along to his old music videos. His baby voice playing next to his voice now. And honestly, it was kind of beautiful, like he got discovered on YouTube and now he's closing Coachella watching himself on YouTube. That's a full circle moment. But wait, this is where it gets weird, because the internet did not agree on whether what Justin did was good or embarrassing. And the divide is not random. It is extremely specific. One side is saying, Justin Bieber needs nothing but himself and his voice. He's such a massive artist that standing there with no dancers, no outfit changes, no production is actually a power move. He's above all that. The other side, and this is the part that I can't stop thinking about, is pointing directly at Sabrina Carpenter, because Sabrina headlined Friday and she went all out. Storyline, set pieces, giant production budget, outfit changes, full choreography, the whole thing, and people still said it was boring. People still said she wasn't enough. And then Justin shows up Saturday with YouTube pulled up on a laptop and people are like, legend, icon. He needs nothing more than his voice. Is this a coincidence or is this a pattern? Someone posted and said, a woman could not go out there and just look up her old music. She would be crucified. And you know what? They're right. We literally watched it happen in real time this weekend. Sabrina gave everything. Justin gave YouTube Premium, and the reactions were not equal. Someone else said the difference in performance quality is insane and asked why Justin Bieber, allegedly the highest paid artist at Coachella this year, is delivering the bare minimum and getting celebrated for it. They brought up Addison Rae getting dragged for not being ready as a pre-headliner. Meanwhile, the actual headliner is doing karaoke with himself, and it's a spiritual experience. I'm not saying Justin was bad. I thought he sounded genuinely amazing, but the double standard is sitting on my chest, and I cannot ignore it. And then Sabrina's situation gets even messier. This is where things change, because during her set, somebody in the crowd was doing a zagarit, which is a traditional Arabic celebratory cheer, a cultural expression of joy. And Sabrina heard it, couldn't see the person clearly, and said on mic, "What is that? I don't like it. That's your culture. Is this Burning Man?" Now, if you were in the crowd where I was, you could only hear Sabrina's side. You couldn't hear what the person was saying back to her. So it just sounded like confusion. Like, maybe a bit, but on the live stream, because the crowd was mic'd up, you can hear everything. You can hear the person explaining to her that it's a celebration, that they're excited, that it's coming from love and admiration for her performance. And she is standing there saying she doesn't like it. That video makes it look really, really bad. She did apologize. She quote tweeted and said her reaction was pure confusion and sarcasm, that she couldn't hear clearly, that she didn't mean any harm, and that now she knows what a zagarit is and welcomes all cheers going forward. But someone immediately clapped back and said, "You clearly heard them. You said, 'This is your culture,' with that exact face. And if there hadn't been backlash, you never would have apologized." And I genuinely don't know what the full truth is. I was there. From where I stood, it was impossible to understand what was happening. But the video tells a different story than what I experienced in the crowd, and that discrepancy is uncomfortable. The Coachella team has been copyright claiming every single clip of this moment, by the way. Like any footage that looks too much like the live stream is getting claimed. So you can't even fully see the context for yourself without hunting for it. And that feels intentional, but I'm just going to leave that there. Okay, but wait, because we haven't even talked about Cat's Eye yet. And this one is genuinely confusing. So, going into Friday, the big question was whether Muna was going to perform with the group. There was a whole build-up. People were saying, yes, she'd be there. Then right before the performance, like performance day, the news comes out that she's not doing it. No explanation. Just, Muno is not performing with Cat's Eye today. And everyone is like, okay, fine. Maybe she's busy. Maybe there's a scheduling conflict, whatever. Except she was at Coachella. There are pictures of her there with Chappelle Roan hanging out like she was at the festival grounds at the event while her group was performing on stage and she was not with them. I'm sorry, but what is happening? You are physically present at the venue. Your group is on the main stage, and you are somewhere else on those same grounds hanging out with other artists. What does that mean? What is going on behind the scenes that nobody is telling us? Because that is not a scheduling conflict. That is something else entirely. Am I the only one seeing this? And she says something that I think is really important. She said she's been doing social media since she was 17, nearly a decade, and she genuinely wonders what long-term damage this kind of thing causes. Because it's not just the cancellation. It's the pattern of getting something dangled in front of you and then having it yanked away. She literally compared it to someone holding a birthday cake up to your face and then running off and eating it themselves. And I think about that because this is happening to influencers. And it's happening to regular people trying to book an Airbnb. And it's happening over and over again at this one specific event. This is insane. Like, what is happening with Coachella? But wait, there's another layer. Because it's not just the people getting there. Once you're actually at the event, the chaos continues. So the set times dropped on Monday. And immediately people were losing it. Because someone at Coachella, someone who allegedly gets paid to make decisions, decided to schedule Cat's Eye ending at 8:45 and Sabrina Carpenter starting at 9:05 on different stages. Stages that are famously, notoriously, almost impossibly far from each other. So now you have to choose. Do you stay for the full Cat's Eye set and miss the beginning of Sabrina? Do you leave Cat's Eye early and fight through a crowd of 10,000 people to maybe get an okay spot? There is no good answer. And people are pointing out, this isn't an accident. Tell me why this keeps happening. Multiple creators were like, who at Coachella decided this was okay? One person said, cute crowd control, but you could have not. And allegedly, this is intentional. They split up big acts on purpose to manage the crowd flow. Which, fine, I get the logistics. But when you put two of the most talked about acts of the weekend at essentially the same time on opposite ends of the grounds, the it's for crowd control explanation starts to feel a little thin. And then there's the thing about Sabrina specifically. Because she's technically one of the 3 headliners. She was the Friday headliner. Big name, big moment, and yet she was the only headliner who did not close out the main stage. Justin Bieber closes it out on Saturday. Karol G closes it on Sunday. But Sabrina? 9:05 p.m. start, not the final act. And people noticed, is this just scheduling or is something else going on here? Because this whole Coachella situation, and I mean all of it together, the Airbnb cancellations, the influencer uninvitations, the scheduling decisions, the prices that make you feel physically ill, it's starting to feel like a feature, not a bug. Like this chaos is just built into the Coachella experience now.
Addison Rae's set yesterday at Coachella was messy, and I'm going to tell you 3 reasons why I feel like she wasn't feeling it at all. There was just a weird vibe. Tell me if you agree with me. The first thing, she was singing Money is Everything, and she was asking for crowd participation, and I feel like she was getting nothing from them, especially when she said, like the one side do it and the other side do it, and then she asked them to do it, and it was like super quiet. And then she said something about how, oh, I heard about you week one. I heard about the crowds, which I've been hearing a lot of artists say, and I don't disagree. I feel like the crowds are dead and it's just people on their phones staring at the artist. The second thing was when she went into the crowd and she was looking around trying to find her screamer for Von Dutch, and she saw somebody with a Justin Bieber sign. Now, this is so funny to me because you always have to remember with a festival like this that these artists are playing to people who are not necessarily their fans, which makes it really difficult for them because you're trying to win people over. When you have a concert, people pay to come see you when it's your tour. When you're on a festival like Coachella, you are not in necessarily the favorite of the person in the audience. They might be waiting for somebody else, like this person was. So someone was holding up a Justin Bieber sign and she said, "Oh, you're here for Justin Bieber." And she kind of laughed about it. But then I don't know, I just feel like her vibes were off. And then to top it all off, I'm sure you've seen that she ended the set by saying, "Oh my gosh, thank you so much to everyone who's ever supported me. I appreciate you so much." And then she said, "To the haters, S my D." So that was a way to end it. That was what made me feel like over the top. She felt a type of way about this audience, about this crowd, and about Coachella. Not to say that I didn't feel like I enjoyed her performance, that I didn't feel like she was having fun. I felt like she was having fun, but there was a little bit of, I don't know, awkwardness in her performance. The other thing about it is after watching Sabrina the night before headline the main stage and give such a full production like we've never seen before, it was probably difficult for Addison to come out. She is a very simple setup. Obviously, the budget is different. Obviously, the career is different at this point in time. I kind of love it though. I feel like the messiness is part of the vibe and I like it. I think she needs to keep it. I don't know if she needed to end the set the way that she did. I thought that was a little bit unnecessary, but I do think that, believe it or not, I'm going to say that it gives her a bit of edginess, the way that the production feels. I don't want to say homemade. That's like the wrong way to say it. It is a professional level production, but even like I noticed that the dancers had tape on the back of their jackets. It's just the way that they're doing everything that feels a little bit more homegrown and authentic. Whereas Sabrina is so incredibly polished and it's such a big production. So it's just different levels. But I think Addison does need to keep a little bit of that touch in her performances, in her tours, to keep an authenticity to it because it makes her a little bit relatable to us. And I love that. So, did you watch Addison's performance? Do you agree with me that she was feeling a little bit like maybe the crowd wasn't feeling her? I'm not sure what exactly the vibe was, but it was a little off. And I'm interested to see what it looks like week two when we get her performance next week, and if anything changes, and if I feel like her feelings are a little bit different next week.
And honestly, the Justin Bieber situation is interesting too. He did warm-up shows at the Roxy and the Troubadour before Coachella, and reportedly there is a radius clause in the contracts for Coachella performers. You can't perform near Coachella before the festival because they want the festival to feel exclusive. But because his shows were free and invite only, it allegedly didn't technically violate the clause. Allegedly. So people are now wondering if he deliberately held back certain songs, saved the throwbacks specifically for Coachella so he could say he's performing them for the first time. So he could technically be like, "Oh, I didn't do that set list at the other shows. Coachella gets the real thing." And look, maybe none of this is connected. Maybe the Airbnb hosts are just greedy individuals making bad choices. Maybe the brands are just disorganized and unprofessional. Maybe the scheduling is genuinely just crowd logistics. Maybe Justin Bieber was just doing little intimate shows out of the goodness of his heart. Or maybe the whole thing, this entire ecosystem around this one festival has gotten so oversaturated, so commercialized, so dependent on the idea of Coachella as this exclusive luxury event that everyone involved is trying to squeeze every last dollar and every last moment of leverage out of it. The hosts, the brands, the organizers, everyone. And the people who get hurt are always the ones who planned ahead, who booked in September, who confirmed the flights, who followed up multiple times, who did everything right. I don't know, maybe I'm reaching, but if this happened to someone you know, drop it in the comments. Because I feel like this is bigger than we're talking about. And I have a feeling this isn't the last time we're going to be having this conversation. Like and subscribe if you want to know what happens next, because trust me, we're not done.